What's up, family? Let me know if you could hear me. Give this video a thumbs up. When I see the thumbs up, that way I know that the sound is working well. Wishing you all a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day. How's everyone doing? Got about 170 people up in here. Get this to 300, 400 or so. We'll kick things off. Let me know if you got the YouTube notification as well for this. And while you're waiting for things to kick off, let everyone know where you're from. Get to know each other. Appreciate every single one of you. Lolo Blondo says, unfortunately, can't stay awake for tonight's hangout, so I will listen to it tomorrow. Absolutely loving your new expansion mastermind course. Thank you. I appreciate you. I love you. I love you too. Thank you so much for supporting my art. I really appreciate you. And anyone out there who's invested in that recent expansion mastermind course that I put out, it's my best work to date. Really happy with the way it's turning out. And for anyone that's interested, I'm going to have chapter 8, which is called Skill Mastery. I'm going to have that uploaded probably by the first week of October. So, as I said about a month ago, it's going to be in a mastermind format. So I'm going to be releasing new videos and adding it to that course as we go. But taking my time on skill mastery and the final chapter, and then of course I'll be adding more videos to the other chapters in the course as needed. But it's going to be an ongoing work, and already I believe we have about 70 videos or so. So it has a lot of course lessons already. But I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Los Lover, I appreciate you, brother. Wishing you a beautiful weekend ahead. Hope you and your family are doing well. Somebody asked, Alicia, I believe, asked, how did I get started with crypto? Well, I don't normally talk too much about crypto on the live streams, but that is a good question. In short, I've known about it for a long time, actually. I probably first started getting interested in it in about 2015, 2016, but I did not become an investor in it then. I was working on some other things at the time. I had more artistic endeavors going on, so I was keeping my focus with the arts, but then I started to get heavily involved in online marketing and e-commerce dropshipping and that kind of side of things, and I started that heavily into the 2019 into transition of 2020, and that was when I actually started crypto started regaining my attention. So I held off on being an investor in it until I actually knew what I was doing. And I went through about a series of maybe 6 straight months between 14 to 18 hours every single day teaching myself technical analysis. And I was already developing somewhat of a base foundation in Gematria. I probably have 2 decades worth of knowledge in numerology, and have always been a big student of the mythologies. So it all kind of came together at this critical moment, which was all around the start of the pandemic. So it's really beautiful to have put in all that work, learning the charts and kind of keeping all the noise to the side, because that was definitely something I noticed a lot in the beginning phases of learning about cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, and investing. Is it's 99% noise and 1% truth, and you always have to find that 1% of truth that resonates with you. And luckily enough, I found Richard Wyckoff and the Wyckoff. Excuse me, I should turn off my phone. I never have my phone off of silent, but I needed to do a call earlier. Excuse me. Anyways, where was I? Oh yeah, I found the work of Richard Wyckoff. Believe he might have died like 80, 90 years ago. And I saw a lot of merit in that work. So anyone who does my crypto mastermind course, you know that I teach the Wyckoff method as like the base, the fundamentals of technical analysis. And it saved me so much time because I personally look at the Wyckoff method almost as if it's like the market compass. It allows us to actually know where we are in a chart. And if any of you are Patreon supporters of mine and you watch my Red Pill podcast, you can see that I've gone over 4 to 5 different cryptos every single week, going on 70 podcasts now. And I could look at any chart, no matter what it is, as long as I have about 6 months of chart data, and I could tell you where we're at and what's the most likely next move. And it's because I studied Wyckoff method the way that I did. I gave it a lot of effort, put in a lot of time. And I've spent so much time in my life learning new skills and being an educator of skills that when I got around to the crypto game, it was actually quite easy for me. It didn't take too long for me to develop my own form of technical analysis. So even though I do Wyckoff method, I have a very unique way of setting up my indicators and all that jazz. So anyone who watches my work by now, you kind of have found out that whenever I find something new, whenever I've unlocked a new way of analyzing what I'm looking at, I try to do it in a very unique and creative way. And one of the things that's really helped me with that, believe it or not, is not watching any other crypto YouTubers. I don't actually follow any technical analysts, and that has helped me a lot. I just focus on doing my own thing. And my inspiration to a lot of the work regarding cryptocurrency is more from like an esoteric perspective. And for me, that's more exciting anyways, because there's thousands, if not tens of thousands of analysts out there that are pretty much doing a very similar form of charting, and no jabs on them. A lot of them I'm sure are incredible and great at what they do. But for me, I'm more of an artist, and I like to just dive into something, give it a lot of time and effort, and be unique. So, hope that gives you more insights. Andrew Macedo, appreciate you, brother. Hope you're doing well. Believe I got a super chat. I'm going to go check that out. I appreciate anyone who is sending any super chats. Much love. Appreciate you. Okay, Gigantic Melons super chat. I appreciate you. You said, why does life feel like a clown world on steroids? Like reality is becoming increasingly self-reflexive and on the verge of a breakdown. Are the controllers wanting a collective mass awakening? This is a really great question, and I get this quite often. So when you're saying, why does life feel like a clown world? Well, that's because it is. And clowns either make you laugh or they scare the shit out of you. It's one or the other. And I've started to look at life through the lenses of self as often as possible. And that recenters me back into me. And when I do that practice, that discipline, it relieves me from my judgments of the external. It relieves me of my judgments of what others are doing and what others take seriously. So I let them be clowns. I almost look at the external world around me like I'm surrounded by a bunch of squirrels, and squirrels are cute, and they're like super hyperactive and reactionary, and they're just doing their own thing. Some of you call these beings NPCs. I don't even care to call them names. I just like look at them like they're birds or squirrels, like they're just around. They're there. They're existing. They're not harming me. They're not really doing anything that gets in my way. They're not infiltrating my purpose at all. I'll say that again. They're not infiltrating my purpose at all. If anything, they play a role in my purpose, because every time I become reactionary and every time that I start to get off my path, I need to be honest with myself about that, as should you. I look at this collective that surrounds me like a teacher. They provide me feedback. And if I observe them instead of judge them, and if I observe them from my heart rather than be critical from my mind, I could see the value they have. So you said, your next sentence, you said, like reality is becoming increasingly self-reflexive and on the verge of a breakdown. Well, everything in this physical realm has a process of expansion and contraction. Everything is being born and then has a process of death. In the physical, the plant from seed to sprout to fruit to rot. It's like alchemy. Everything in the physical is experiencing this alchemical process, and so are you. And so is your journey of consciousness. And you'll have many, many deaths in a way. You'll have many rebirths in a lot of ways. There needs to be a breakdown. There needs to be a collapse. But where are you in it? Where do you stand? You asked, are the controllers wanting a collective mass awakening? The controllers don't want anything. They just are. They be. And the collective is not. The apex predator, the ruling class, they are living their lives, and the collective are existing, being trapped in yesterday and the worry of tomorrow. They lack ego, and their prana is just leaking from every single orifice of them. The apex predator, the controller, their desires are so different. They can't create prana, and you can. This is why I say quite often, they do not have power. They have the illusion of power. The collective elects them this power solely through the belief. Because of this belief that they are powerful, therefore they are. If anyone wants this all to stop, it requires you to stop believing that they're powerful. I don't necessarily think I believe in a collective mass awakening, though. And I definitely do not believe that they're desiring such. I think they're just letting it all be. Like I say quite often, love is allowing. They know they can't control every single response, but they definitely know how to create an environment that is reactionary. And if they can be an architect of a vibrational frequency that brings a halt to action, and I call this fear, if that could be the underlining fundamental frequency that the average person of the collective operates under, then think about how much easier it is for them to have this so-called illusion of power. Have you ever seen sled dogs? I watched a movie recently of these people that were like in Antarctica or something. Oh, excuse me, Greenland. They were in Greenland. And they had these sled dogs. And the sled dogs just did their job. They just pulled these men up these glaciers and through the snow. And when one dog started to get weak, they would actually kill the dog and then feed that dog to the other dogs. And then they would continue, the dogs would continue to work for the men. I know this sounds sick, but this is like almost identical to how human beings behave. We live in a mass psychopathy, believing that the men that operate the sled truly have power. And the collective are the dogs. The dog sled dogs. The huskies. You look so cute, but you still believe that that man holding the strings has power. When will you wake up? When will you wake up to the fact that you are the dog, you're the man, you're the sled, you're the rope, you're the fucking snow beneath the sled. You're the sky, you're the rain, you're the snow. You are source. That is the awakening. That is the awakening. Much love, Gigantic Melons. I appreciate your super chat. Got 387 people up in here. I appreciate every single one of you. Wishing you all a beautiful Friday. And if it's Saturday, because you live over there in Australia or New Zealand, much love to you. Bella Love, appreciate you. Helen Wheels, appreciate you. Sending you love. Brianna Williams. Laura C. Appreciate every single one of you for showing up. Let's get this to 600, 700 people. Feel free to share this live stream link on your Instagram, whatever you got going on, your Twitter account, Facebook. Let's grow this wolf pack. Appreciate every single one of you. Spliffs, I appreciate you like the thumbnail. I'm always trying to get creative thumbnails. It's funny, somebody one time was talking about the thumbnails that I made, and I was saying how I don't put any effort into them because I don't want it to be like, I don't want that kind of stuff to matter to begin with. But I always find really amazing pictures by mistake. So I've saved up a big portfolio of pictures for future thumbnails. Zen Man, appreciate you from Estonia. I actually have a lot of people from Estonia following my work, so that's amazing. It's a tiny country. Got some Estonia wolves in the house. Maya, I appreciate you. Got the orange pill next to your name. Appreciate anyone who has joined the YouTube membership as well. Dustin said Morgan Freeman or Jordan's voice. Yo, that's funny, man. So the mic is sounding good, loud and clear. Meow. I love your name. I really love and appreciate you, brother. You bring in so much light. I appreciate you too. Sending you love. Esoteric Compassionist says the intestines is the mind. Well, when you eat a specific way, then that trauma stores in the intestines, and then the intestines becomes parasited, and then yes, it becomes a very powerful mind. It is one of the minds, the gut. And I believe that most creatures that walk amongst us are in a chronic state of dehydration, and that state of dehydration mixed with the fact that a lot of the foods they consume have adrenochrome in it. When you combine those two things together, the intestine mind, as you called it, becomes the functioning reactionary mind. And it makes it very difficult for beings to respond when they're in that vibrational frequency, where essentially their intestine are controlling their emotions. But yes, you speak a truth. Rebecca Carrington, love you too. Appreciate you showing up. Toxin Storm, appreciate you. Appreciate seeing some of the members of the expansion group coaching hanging out with us tonight. All right. Just started recently, so we're letting some more people come in. Clyde Floyd said a lot of YouTubers follow you. Is that true? I didn't know that. I do believe that I will be connecting with a couple more people that I haven't connected with before. Some new interviews coming out before the end of the month. You guys know that my work has been really heavily focused on the Shemitah, and here we are. We're like 10 days out. So I've had a lot of people actually reaching out to me for interviews and all that, and that means a lot to me. Seeing the love and seeing people that want to connect and find value in this unique work. It really means a lot. D-Vortex and Jody, I appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all showing up. Much love. Glenn Starr is talking about the checkerboard, and one of the other things behind the checkerboard is the white and the black squares are the conscious and the subconscious mind. And that subconscious is tied to Saturn, the black cube, the black square. And that's why I have a whole chapter in my new expansion mastermind course solely for the it's called subconscious mastery. And subconscious mastery is a process of knowing about the mythology, the mythological significance of Saturn and then connecting it to the subconscious as a teacher. And you see a really deep, very deep hidden meaning behind it all. And it's hidden in that way. It's hidden, but it's not, And of course, anyone who's gone through my course and has gone through that chapter, you know all the details. Somebody's asking about Jubilee. So biblical Jubilee is after 7 cycles of 7 Shemitah years. So that means Jubilee is on the 50th year. After 7 cycles of 7 years, that's 49 years, Jubilee is practiced on the following year at Rosh Hashanah. So I hope that answers your question. And to add even more to that Jubilee concept, there's different forms of Jubilee, but the one that's the biblical Jubilee is a 50-year cycle. And then there's a way different. There's like 350-year cycle. There's much more expanded cycles after that. But it ultimately it doesn't really matter, because you're gonna have to respond to every Shemitah year as they come. They're all gonna provide a different imprint and a different outcome, and they only come around once every 7 times. It's quite important for you to see it, in the moment, because it doesn't really matter if we're approaching Jubilee or some other, more unique form of Jubilee. It's irrelevant. Just every single time we get a Shemitah, it's an opportunity. It's a very big opportunity, and people should pay attention to that. Because when you pay attention to it, you're able to take advantage of market chaos while everyone else is doing the complete opposite. Gigantic says, appreciate the response. Thank you for your beautiful words. Well, I appreciate you, and thank you so much for the super chat and supporting my work. It really means a lot to me. Somebody's asking, why does Rosh Hashanah have importance in the markets? Well, it's because the stock market runs on this runs on currency, and currency is tied to the moon. And in Judaism, they're actually following solar and lunar cycle within their calendar. And Rosh Hashanah is always changing every single year according to the Gregorian dates. So it's a much more accurate calendar for knowing how the market behaves. And then when you take the Hebrew calendar significance of the Shemitah, which is that 7-year cycle, you're going to see that all these historic market crashes and all the historic bull runs are in alignment with this cycle. So really, the Gregorian calendar is there as a tool. The Hebrew calendar is there for a tool. You can use other calendars if you like, if you want to go into Enochian or just have fun, But I like to simplify things. I always like to simplify things. And I see that the Hebrew calendar's significance specifically in cryptocurrency is something that is undeniable. And the reason why is because crypto, created by Satoshi, is Saturn, and Saturn is the Shemitah, or the Sabbath. Saturday is the day of the Sabbath. This is the day of Saturn. And anything tied to Saturn primarily is very, very important in Judaism. So that's why we're seeing this type of market reaction the way we do, like why Bitcoin has hit all-time highs multiple times and leading into all-time lows multiple times in separate cycles around Saturnalia practiced in December. I'm going to move past talking about crypto, though. I believe it's not as important when we're doing these live streams. Most people aren't here for the crypto anyways, and that's best for my soul. I put out a really long video recently about like decoding in crypto, and go watch that, Also, have you guys been enjoying the longer form content? I'm really enjoying making the one YouTube video a week regarding crypto and the decoding, and just laying out as much as I can, as many gems, as much words of wisdom and clear pills. I've really been enjoying doing it that way. I'm not going to change, by the way. I'm just asking you if you guys have been enjoying it for sure. I mean, it's really important that I do what my purpose tells me to do. And this has definitely been a format for me that I feel great about. But I know attention spans aren't the same as they used to be. So putting out videos that are really long like that isn't for everyone. But I really want to help. I really want to provide people as much value as possible. And putting out a video that's maybe 30 minutes once a week for free on YouTube, I mean, 50 of those a year is so much data, especially with the way that I do my breakdowns. That's what frees up and alleviates the time for us to be able to do these live streams. Sean, I appreciate you, you and your girlfriend for tuning in. Shout out to Ireland, sending you love. Dean11, much love to Morocco. I would love to go to Morocco. I still haven't been there. I still have not gone. I would love to go to Egypt as well. I think that would be an amazing experience for me, kind of like a research trip. Imagine I went to Egypt, the shit that I would bring back to you guys, like the decoding insanity that I'd be able to. Oof, I feel like that needs to happen there. And also, there's another place that I've been really thinking would be amazing to explore, like Turkey or Georgia. I really love Georgian wine. I don't know if any of you have had the opportunity to try Georgian wine. It's like orange wine. It's kept in these barrels. They're like they're not barrels actually. They're kind of like made out of stone, and they're kept underground. I think they're called kvevri. I forgot how to pronounce it, but they do the wine keeping the stems and the skins and everything during the fermentation process, and it gives it this beautiful color. And it's just such an experience to try Georgian wine. It's really, really interesting stuff. But anyways, I love traveling. I would love to be able to go to Egypt someday. I think that would be an amazing thing for any decoder, truthfully. Anastasia, I appreciate you showing up. Appreciate you. Much love. Laura C, thank you so much for the super chat. Sending love. You said, Jordan, I just want to express that you're shit, making me blush. I thank you. I appreciate you. You said that if you were an acupuncturist, I'd love to be your oh shit. Damn. Well, that means a lot to me. Thank you. I'm glad that you find my voice relaxing. Appreciate you. It's a spicy comment though. It's getting spicy up in here. Appreciate you, Laura. Sending you lots of love. Hope you're having a beautiful, beautiful Friday night. Anastasia, from Iceland. Amazing. I love Iceland. I've been there a bunch of times. It's probably one of the countries that I've visited the most in Europe. Absolutely love it, and I would love to go back soon. I really miss that place. I probably told you guys before how I did like a 3-week to one, I believe it was like 1 straight month of just hitchhiking around Iceland. That was a really transformative experience for me. Just being alone for so long and then having these intermittent, hitchhiking experiences where people just pick you up. You never know who they are. I mean, sometimes it would be like another tourist from Romania or Brazil. Sometimes, like, I got picked up one time by this old Icelandic lady. She was like probably I want to say 70 or so. She looked old enough to not like be somebody you would expect to pick up a hitchhiker, and this is zero judgment, but it's just coming from the United States. You would never see such a thing, and this cute old lady picked me up, and she was so nice. She didn't speak any English at all. She just smiled and nodded the whole time. She didn't understand anything I was saying. I was super grateful. I was just asking her questions about like how her life has been, like how has life been living here for so long. And yeah, she tried her best in English. And I don't know if you guys are aware, but Icelandic is a very, very difficult language to learn. So even if you wanted to learn basic conversational Icelandic, I mean, it would take you some effort. Unless maybe you're from Denmark or Norway or Sweden, you might have some ability to kind of grasp it. I know it's a Germanic language, but Icelandic is a beautiful language as well. Like, whenever you hear people from Iceland speaking English, it always sounds super cute. Like, it's a very nice accent they have. But that's another country that I've been having a lot more people follow my work from. Like, wow, Estonia and Iceland, I would have never expected. But that's the beauty of this internet thing. We could connect all around the world with everyone. And another thing that's so beautiful is it shows you how much alike we are. Like, there's so many wolves around this world. There's people who follow my work in Ethiopia. There's people who follow my work in, I've even had somebody from Kazakhstan who like really has been keeping up with these live streams and has supported my work, purchasing courses. It just brings so much like gratitude to me. I can't believe it. It's really amazing. Bridget says, looking forward to your upcoming live stream with Coach JV. Yeah, me and JV are going to be doing a post Rosh Hashanah live stream together, which is amazing. It kind of just happened to align with both of our schedules. It's really lucky because he was the first person I ever spoke with about the Shemitah outside of just making my own videos. And I remember JV contacted me and we had a short phone call, and he was just really interested in what I was doing, and then became a friend of mine. And I really, I'm so grateful for him to have spread the word about my work, and just really means a lot to me to have his support and have the support of the 3T Warrior Academy. So shout out to them. It's all love. Appreciate you. Eddie Woodman, appreciate you. Trevor Knoll, thank you so much for the super chat. You said a random thought, father, wisdom, provider, teacher, work, son, learner, explorer, innocent, play, spirit, your connection to source. Well, I actually, this process of life, of going from being like a child to an adult, is so fascinating if you take a step back and analyze it consciously. You know, the way that we're looking through lenses in this community, where we're actually trying to close our eyes and open up the first eye. And that sight that we have with the pineal body sees into these timelines and these phases, these transition points we have in life. And I believe within all of us adults, there's this inner child, and that inner child is always speaking up. And sometimes we put the mute button on that wise being. We put this mute button on that, and it's like telling our higher self to be quiet. And I think we need to listen up. I think that inner child has something to teach us at every moment that we start to get upset, we start to get judgmental, we start to get a little bit too out of posture. When we start to break focus and start to give our prana to the external, that inner child is always there, kind of like tapping on us, saying like, hey, can you chill out? Can you like take a moment to step back and stop being such a human? Because you're getting influenced by humans right now. And simultaneously, you have all this glory that surrounds you, Mother Nature, the animals, and all this purity. Just focus in on that. Because when you focus in on that, it will provide you a stillness. You will enter a field of energy where you could actually take in what you're observing. You could filter it through yourself in a new way. And then the byproduct of that is a much more sophisticated choice, a much more well thought out plan. But like we were talking about earlier, it's almost like the protocol of humanity to continue in a state of fear and worry and anxiety and depression, and to always be reacting and to never be responding, to almost always be caught up in a problem and never desiring seeking solutions. When this becomes a pattern, and then that pattern perpetuates itself for decades, 10, 20, 30, 50, 70 years, you essentially do not have a life. You have an existence, and that existence was akin to a zombie apocalypse, like a zombie being. We already live in a zombie apocalypse. It's surrounding you every single day. For most people, the only form of life that you might be able to interact with and touch is a flower outside of your house, or a tree, or your dog. That might be the only life for some people. You might live in a city full of 1 million people, but the only form of life that you get to experience when you leave your door might literally be a cat crossing the street. I know it sounds wild, but it's kind of like we're there. And I'm stoked to be here right now in the physical. I love this experience because I've tapped into an information field where I'm okay with all of this. And I figured out a way to protect my prana in the process. I'm not looking for a savior anymore. Like, I love this life. I love this life because I decided to live and stop existing. It's a choice. And you have to make that choice if you want to feel alive. It's a discipline. Moonrunner, I appreciate you. Clintrons, I appreciate that. I appreciate the Hex community for showing love. I mean, it's really incredible to have gotten that support so quickly. So appreciate y'all. And what I appreciate most is the open-mindedness to come into my work, to listen to my live streams, to hear out my decodes and what I have to say about all of this market, and to be open-minded in that process. So appreciate you. Patriot Eagle and somebody else has asked me this question about plants feeling pain. Like, do we have to really explain? I know people mean well, so I'll center myself with this response. When an apple falls off of a tree, are we trying to compare that to like slitting a pig's throat open? Like, what are we doing with this question? It's just like, I need that energy to like, it's like is it a rhetorical? Is that a rhetorical question? I'll move on. I'm not even going to read questions like that because it's really just, it's absurd. It's absurd on so many levels. Yeah, last night I had dinner and I needed to cattle prod the sweet potato in the ground in order to, like, what the fuck are we talking about? People just love their adrenochrome, man. It's like they'll come up with anything on both sides. It's such a cult. Such a fucking cult. I'll say that because it needs to get spicy. I just need that. I need human mosquitoes to go on, to move off. We've appreciated you hanging out with us. Have fun with your next adrenochrome sandwich. And we'll be seeing you next time. Oh, somebody asked a good question. Somebody asked, why do they practice Judaism? Well, it's not necessarily that they practice Judaism, because Judaism is practiced by normal people. What they practice is the Talmud and the Kabbalah. So these Bolsheviks that are running this show through the belief of power that we give them, these are essentially, they're practicing the Talmud, and they're Kabbalists. So this all comes back to Zionism. You can learn more about Karl Marx if you'd like. This kind of gives you a lot of insight into the origins of Zionism, which is essentially just the Talmud. So that's kind of what it is. And that's why these peoples have been kicked out of every single society they've ever tried entering. But simultaneously, they learned how to leverage on this belief system, this cult that they're a part of, in order to perpetuate a power hierarchy that still maintains its posture in this world to this day. And it's funny because a lot of the decoding community has just tipped their hat to the Jesuit order, the Society of Jesus, as if they're doing all of this. But you need to understand the inner workings of the Jesuit order, which is the protocols of Zionism. So when we talk about Judaism here on my channel, we're not talking about like your local Hasidim community. Like, we're not talking about just regular people. They're regular people just like you and me. Like, they're living their own life in their own community. They're not controlling the market. But when we're talking about the Talmudic practicing Kabbalists who have a bloodline that goes back to Sumerian times, these are the beings that have written into law all of the stuff that we're practicing today, like the Social Security. I mean, it's a lot has to do with the Vatican, but the Vatican is a practicing organization that goes back to the teachings of the Talmud. And they talk about the Bible, and they say, oh yeah, we're Christian, Catholic. That's all make-believe. That's exoteric. They're giving you that so they could cover up their true belief system, which is the Talmud. Oh, Lasha, thank you for letting us know that you're also from Georgia. I was just talking about Georgia. I love the wine. King Crypto, I appreciate your kind words. Essentially, King Tut Crypto, excuse me. So I do have a video called Jubilee Decoded. You might want to check that out, because if you check out the Jubilee Decoded video, it'll give you all the surrounding information regarding what's going on with that. But I personally, throughout all of my research and all of the data that I've compiled, that I've shared with everyone, I see biblical Jubilee being practiced in the year of 2023 Gregorian, but it's going to start specifically at the start of the year of 5,783 Hebrew year, which starts in 11 days. This will be the start of biblical Jubilee, the 50-year cycle. We're literally less than 2 weeks away. So this community, it is so beautiful that we're all together experiencing this at this time. Zero fear, zero worry. Like, we're all in this together. We've been talking about this for over a year now. So you should all be well aware. And if you're brand new to my work, I appreciate you. Welcome to the Wolf Pack. It's great to have you here. There's so many videos. I have 200 videos on YouTube completely for free. Go watch them, binge them, have fun, take notes. There's so much being shared. Even in the last 6 months has been a lot of my core work surrounding this particular year and how I see the transition of this year into the year of 5,783 going. So appreciate you. Anna, Anushka, appreciate you. Tigre, you said the trick is to care about everyone while not caring what they think. So I'll add a little bit to that. The trick is to allow everyone while not giving them your prana. That's it. The moment you care about what they think is the moment you gave them your prana for free. And this comes back to haters and what I spoke about on the last live stream. For anyone who listened to that last live stream, I went off for a while on haters in a very calm and important way because it was needed to. We talked about the concept of haters in a way that I don't think anyone really has discussed. It was a very unique stream of consciousness that I tapped into, and I believe David asked me about it. David Wallachuk, I'm not sure if he's here tonight with us, but sending you love, brother. Kevin, I appreciate your super chat. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you supporting my work, as always. And I appreciate anyone who's putting... Oh, sorry, 1 second, guys. I'm going to put my phone on. Appreciate you, Kevin, and I appreciate anyone who's sent any super chats. It's all love. You said question from the wife. Well, let your wife know I said much love too. You said, what are your thoughts about Down syndrome? Is it really a chromosome problem, or is it the mother that has the issue? Could toxins in the mother cause this issue? Okay, well, this is a very deep topic to get into, but a huge thing could just be the damage of the gut microbiome. So a lot of these vaccines, they're essentially just wiping out your gut. They're destroying the gut microbiome. I don't care what shot it is. It is destroying the gut. It is making it so it is a much easier environment for your intestine to store those parasites that we spoke about earlier in this live stream. We had a wise comment from one of our fellow wolves, and I expounded upon that. But what we're going into with this specific question is it could be a multitude of things. It could be the mother's shots that she's received, and it's just for some reason it's making its way in the process of the baby developing in her, and the nutrients that it's receiving and through her blood, and the way her gut is reacting to that new hormonal response and everything that's happening within her body to host an environment that works for this baby, to be able to develop inside of her and for her to eventually give birth. It's going to create a lot of different chemical reactions in the body, a lot of hormonal reactions that would have not normally happened in other circumstances. So it could be there's a toxic environment that the baby is being developed in. And then furthermore, there's when the baby is born. And of course, we know when the baby is born, this Zionist vampire system that we live in called hospitals, they're instantaneously damaging the baby. And they do it in so many ways. Even the way that the mother is giving birth, the way that she lays down, that is wrong. Everything about what a hospital does is wrong. Sorry if anyone who's listening, you're a doctor or whatever, but it just is what it is. And it's so funny how they use Hermes, Mercury, Thoth as the symbol for hospitals, the caduceus, and all of that symbology, because he was considered the god of wisdom. But the hospital is the least wise operation that exists in our realm. I think the fucking banking system is more sophisticated than a hospital. It is literally a torture chamber that goes against every organic response of the human organism. And it leverages on your ignorance in order to make its moves. So they'll instill fear on you to create an environment for your mind, which will make you more vulnerable to whatever product or thing they want to sell onto you. So with that being said, if we have a mother who has not gone through the process of vaccination, and we have a child that has not gone through that process either, and a father either, it's way less likely. So, of course, yes, it is probably still possible, whatever circumstance that is, that's very circumstantial. But the conversation specifically about chromosomes and pairs of chromosomes, it's another topic. It's another conversation. And whatever damage is happening to the DNA, again, could definitely be coming back to this. And it could also be coming back to antibiotics. So that's another side of it. It's not just the jabs. It could be antibiotics as well, can completely destroy the gut microbiome. So to reverse out of that, it requires fasting. It requires, for some, Shivambu. It requires you to make choices. And I'm not talking about reversing out of Down syndrome. I'm talking about reversing out of taking antibiotics or taking these V's. But, to be completely honest, it's just going into the bloodstream right immediately, crossing the blood-brain barrier, and it's damaging the body, not just the gut, but the gut is a big culprit behind your specific question of the child or about Down syndrome. I think that's what your question was referring to, right? Because you brought up the mother, and that's what's making my mind go to answering this about children. So I'm sorry, Kevin, if I misunderstood your question, but I hope I was able to answer it. Got 500 people up in this chat. I appreciate every single one of you. Get this one to 600 people. We could do it. Somebody asked, Iceland is European? Yes. I believe it is a Schengen country. It is part of the European Union. It is also part of the Scandinavian Council or whatever they call that. But I think the Icelander that's with us could probably answer that with a lot more detail. But yeah, remember what happened back in 2007, 2008 with the banking system where we had the subprime mortgage crisis and all of that shit going on? One of the big scandals was the Iceland banks, and they were doing a bunch of fraudulent bullshit, fucking up people's pensions and retirement accounts. And then they had a huge bailout from the Eurozone, which their headquarters is in Berlin, Germany, I believe. And was it Christine Lagarde at the time was heading that parasitic operation? That's the thing we talk about quite often, is that housing crisis and the connection to the housing crisis from our outlook of the Shemitah. I believe we do have housing has topped out already, and I do see housing being very chaotic in the Jubilee year. DMS, sending you lots of love. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for the super chat. It means a lot to me. You said, I'm curious your thoughts on Jordan Maxwell. He seemed to have a lot of knowledge. Thanks for all your YouTube videos. Appreciate you, DMS. It's all love. Well, I always like to preface questions that I get asked about other people and say that I'm not a really big fan of talking about people that I don't know, that I haven't had the opportunity to meet. And I do know that Donut Factory, who's interviewed me a bunch of times, and shout out to Donut. I don't know if he's hanging out with us on tonight's podcast. On tonight's live stream, but I've done a bunch of podcasts with Donut, and he actually, I believe, had the last living interview with Jordan Maxwell. And I think he might have interviewed him twice or 3 times. So although I didn't get to talk to Jordan Maxwell, I have talked to Donut, obviously, and he's interviewed him directly a couple times. So I at least have a little bit of a connection there in that regard. And I've only heard Donut say nice things about him. But my personal thing is that I do believe the work that he shared regarding Saturn and like this Saturn cult was important. Now, I am also aware that Jordan Maxwell is a high-level Freemason. Not that that really means too much, because even if he was a 33rd degree, I mean, like, Albert Pike was high-level and he was exposing shit, so it's not, like, you got to see these people as opportunities rather than enemies. they're going to have lies hidden within their truths. They're going to have their own truths hidden within their overall message. It is up to you to ask yourself what you resonate with. You must never believe in the words of another man. You must only believe in the thoughts, words, and actions of yourself. Everything outside of you is an opportunity for you to resonate. And resonation requires a discipline of not falling for or believing in. And you can do this by taking what you receive and leaving the rest. Taking what you desire and leaving anything else behind. This is a skill and a practice that allows us to take in the words and teachings of pretty much anyone in this realm and find the gold hidden within the dirt. So there could be a lot of misinformation that was shared by Mr. Jordan Maxwell. I by no means am a student of his work. I have not thoroughly studied all of what he's done. He had a really long career. But him and another guy came out around the same time, sort of sharing these big truth bombs, if you will. And it was a Zachariah Sitchin. And he was also a high-level Freemason. And he was spreading, like, this I can attest to. Zachariah Sitchin was spreading lies about the Anunnaki and creating narratives about decoding the tablets and all. This guy was a true parasite. He was part of a disinformation campaign. And now I only know because I was very fascinated with the Anuna and the Anunnaki, and this has been an ongoing fascination of mine for 20 years. So, I mean, it's nothing new to me. But yeah, this guy is somebody to watch out for, and they kind of come in a pair. A lot of the time when people find the work of Bill Cooper, they'll find the work of Jordan Maxwell, then they'll probably find the work of Zachariah Sitchin. So I am not trying to speak down on these beings. I just know that there is definitely misinformation coming out from these people, and it comes down to the belief of their followers. Like, a lot of their followers hear something new. And I do need to talk about this for a minute because we have 500 people, and it's very important that we talk about this, because some of you are probably like, wait, did Jordan just say that he doesn't want me to believe in anything besides myself? Jordan's telling me to not even believe in him? Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Why would I want you to believe in me? I only want you to believe in you. I want you to believe in you. What you hear from me, just resonate with. Take what you like, leave the rest. This isn't for me to indoctrinate you. The last thing I want you to do is believe in me. I want you only to believe in yourself. But here's the thing, guys. In the truther community or the enlightened community or whatever, the people who are desiring to learn about truth, it's a common practice where you hear something new. You hear something novel that you've never heard before from someone, and you accept this new thing as your truth and the ultimate word. You take it in as if it is as if it's God. It's a sentient truth. It's walking, living, and it hosts inside of the body of the being that is delivering that truth to you. I am here to tell you to protect yourself from that shit. No matter who comes out with something new and something shiny and something cute, they could bedazzle you with all the fucking unique truth in the world, but it is up to you as an individual to only believe in yourself and resonate with the message you're receiving from that being. Because if you decide to just jump on board with a new idea and not practice it in your own space, not give it some time to digest through you, just jump into it and fall in love with it as a belief, this is where you will go down with the sinking ship. I don't want you to crash and burn. I want you to rise from the ashes. You do this by believing in yourself. I just see right now there is so much shit going on. So much shit. I even see it in some communities of people that I've personally talked with. And I do not want the wolf pack to be that way. Like, this is not me. And I'm very candid about this. And I know it's not popular, but I'm a real one and I'll go down with this. Because to me, the truth is not universal. The truth is not somebody who has some specific novel concept that they're sharing with you. That is not the fucking truth. That is their mind and their creation. Okay? It's their art. I want you to create your art. That's the beautiful imprint that comes from you. That's your beauty. And you're all creators in your own unique way. Stop believing outside of yourself and start believing in the only thing that's worth believing in. You. Every answer, every truth, every beautiful nugget of wisdom is unlocked from you. If you've come here into these live streams and you've heard something here that is new, that you've never heard before, and it kind of like starts to shake awake this feeling within you, that resonation that you're feeling, it's just unlocking and wiping away the amnesia of what this whole experience has been for you. But please do not believe in me. I take personal responsibility for my actions and the way things go for myself. And I want to be a part of a group, of a beautiful community that does that on their own levels independently for every single person that decides to be a part of this. That is the true enlightenment. And the shitty thing about gurus or whatever's going on, the spiritual leaders, the people who call themselves enlightened beings who are sent here by whatever fucking starseed planet new age bullshit that they're... All of this stuff, everyone who comes up with something new and creative and interesting, you see cults developing around it because these people have weak and damaged egos and they don't want to be living their own truth. They just want to be tethered to the handcuffs of master. And I see this happening so often, and I wonder, the leader either is aware of this and they're letting this feed them. They're letting the members feed them with this prana, which in my opinion is like being a slave master. So I see it happening where I know that people who are running these specific channels or running communities or whatever they're doing, I know that they're getting fed this prana through the belief of their followers. That like gets them off. And I'm sitting here looking at the followers and I'm like, guys, like fucking snap out of it. This guy's a magician. This woman's a magician. You're falling for the sleight of hand. You're seeing the magic wand. And I'm here telling you how to fucking locate that magic wand. I'm saying don't let that fucking magic wand hypnotize you. So it all comes back to this belief, which is very full circle from the start of what happened in the initial part of this live stream to what I just said. Belief is such a beautiful technology and so few want to realize it as such because they rather it be the leash connected to their throat. And belief is not a bridge. It is a barrier. You are your own worst enemy every single time that you decide to believe externally. And this goes for raw religion. This goes for whatever teachers that are in your life. This goes for every single interaction. This also goes for yourself. You are your own teacher. You are higher self. You are spirit. People ask, like, do I have a soul? Does this person have a soul? Does that have... You are the soul. But every time that you externalize belief, you're taking this beautiful soul of yours and you're disregarding it. You're taking that intuition that's inside of you and you're just stomping it to the ground. That intuition is your greatest tool that you have. And you get that intuition by believing in yourself. The moment you start to externalize belief, intuition has flown away from you. It's crashed and burned. Groupthink is really parasitic. And during this time, we're going to watch a lot of people fall for groupthink. And it's been this way for a while. It's been this way for probably thousands of years. But here we are. Some of us are wiping away this amnesia. We're unlocking something that very few have access to. And I believe we must own what I just said at its fullest capacity. You have been gifted with something that very few people have. That is something we should all be very grateful for. But remember, when you start unlocking this gnosis, when you start tapping into these deeper truths, this makes your environment very, very easy to be infiltrated. And the mechanism that allows this infiltration is externalized belief. That right there can get you from going 20 steps forward to 20,000 steps backwards. Just that one little word, belief. Lisa said my 7-year-old is listening. I have to explain Shemitah to her now. That's really amazing that you have your daughter listening in. That really means a lot to me. Somebody asked, is obsession for our bliss or purpose wrong? I guess you're trying to find the validation in the concept of obsession. And then you say, I ask because for the past 6 years, I've devoted myself to becoming better at my craft and lost everything recently in this pursuit. Okay. This is how it goes, brother. This is how it goes. When you fall in love with your purpose, how could you expect human beings to keep up with that? Your purpose is like beyond human capacity. Of course, it can't be wrong. How could your purpose ever be wrong? If it brings you bliss and it centers you in the now moment and it's giving you prana, that's the most beautiful thing that could ever happen to a human being while they're here in this physical realm. But you're saying you lost everything recently in this pursuit. So I ask you, are you bothered by that then? Because if you're bothered about losing these people, then it looks like you have to adjust. And if you're not bothered by what you've lost, whether that be people or other opportunities or whatever's going on for you, at the end of the day, that's kind of the context that's necessary to be aware of. But to answer your question, there's going to be an obsessive quality to those that are more thirsty than other people. Like I've said this many times. I'm the most thirsty wolf. Like when everyone else is complaining that where's the water? I don't know where it is. When's my savior going to come and fill up my canteen? I'm the wolf that's like, see y'all later. I'm going to find my... Like, I'll let y'all fucking complain and bicker and moan and do whatever. Wait around for master. But I'm here to serve purpose. And I'm hungry. So that dedication, that obsession to what it is, it's not going to be in alignment with the average person's desires. If you're like that, if you're that type of person who is willing to give up on a lot of normal societal narrative-based ways of being, let's just call it, if you're moving away or shifting away from society and the way that they behave, because you've locked into your purpose. Well, you're going to have to make sure that after you've lost those things, that the next people or the next opportunities that you walk into, that you are very certain that they're aware of the vibrational frequency that you're operating at. So this is a beautiful opportunity for you to be 100% genuine, 100% unapologetically yourself. This way, any person that you interact with next coming into your life, even if it's in the next hour from when you hear me say this to you, you must be 100% you. Because this is how you form that new tribe, the ones who are as hungry as you are, the ones who are as thirsty as you are. See, I'm at a place in life where I don't desire human validation anymore. I operate at the frequency that I operate at. And when I operate here, I gravitate, beings that are at this frequency gravitate towards me. So remember what I just said. Like when you change your frequency and you own that frequency, don't be fake. Don't go into the cafe or the next date you're on or any of that shit and change yourself. Like, be you. Know when to be the chameleon. But when it comes to the moment, when it comes to that moment where it's your opportunity to let people know what you're truthfully about and what it is, what your soul is all about, you have to be honest. And be surprised. You'd be surprised. You might not have the most friends. You might not have the most people in your life, but the ones that you do have in your life will be other souls just like you. They will be spirit in this physical. Those are the angels. So I don't know about you, but I rather risk my popularity. I rather risk what people agree with me on. I rather risk it all to have one person that I really love and that really loves me back. And what I mean by love is not like a partnership or any of that. I'm talking about allowing somebody that you could truthfully be 100% genuine with. Someone that has a skill that's different from yours, but interests you. Someone you could grow with, someone you could learn from. This is the beauty of this experience in the physical realm. Once our soul is here in this physical, once it's here, it's moving at a very slow frequency now because we're physical, we're dense. But your spirit, that is we're talking about an entire solar system worth of energy. You are literally a power plant in a single body. But you have to remind people of where you're at. Because if you don't, and you act agreeable, well, you're going to have another human mosquito land on your arm, suck some blood out, and then you're going to be itching yourself for the next 3 days. Okay, where are we at with time? Okay. Just trying to find some questions, and I appreciate the super chats you've all been sending in. Appreciate you. Much love. Seeker66, thanks for showing up, brother. I appreciate you. Kevin, of course. Well, this is a great question, and I'm sure some doctors or people that know doctors probably left this live stream when I said what I said earlier, whatever. But this is a great follow-up question from the freedom culture, and you'll see where I really stand on this, okay? Because I'm coming from that love flow. Like, so if people want to get this spice and they ask for the truth, but then the spice burns them, what can I say? But the freedom culture asked a really good question. You said, is it possible to unindoctrinate a doctor? You would be blown away how many doctors have worked directly with me. How many of them have had a spiritual awakening, like where they just completely broke from the chains of the spell they were casted under. And it was through me sharing these truths that I said. So I know it's a sacrifice to say some of this stuff because it's not popular. But at the end of the day, like, I know so many doctors that have reached out to me personally, that have booked calls with me, like literally reached out to me to reserve one-on-one calls. Multiple doctors that have become private clients of mine that I've actually coached directly. And a lot of what I have worked with them on is the trauma that they have. Like, once they learn what they've been doing to people, once they find, like, I've had nurses, I've literally had and of course, I'm not going to say the names. This is their private, this is confidential, of course, but I've had a nurse and I've had a pediatrician. Yeah. Had a pediatrician reach out to me, two separate people from different countries, both worked with me directly, both giving vaccines to children, have seen multiple children die from these injuries. And they were like suicidal. Like these people that were working in healthcare, they were like, I found out about the truth and I don't know if I could live anymore. And I had to work with those people. Like, it's I can't tell you how grateful I am that somebody would trust me in that scenario to work with them in that specific way. But they resonated with the live streams. They feel that this has helped them dramatically to be able to, see what's going on in the bigger picture, how to forgive yourself, how to let go, and to see that, the real beautiful thing about all of this is no matter what has happened in the past, now that you have this awareness, you decided to grow a pair and make a change. You know how many people know that they're killing people every single day with these antibiotics and these vaccines? They know they're doing it and they still continue to do it just to make money, just to have a fucking job. That is a true parasite. So I honor the people that have woken up to what they've done and have contacted me and have been really straightforward and transparent. I think those people are beautiful. So I'm not against doctors. I'm against people who perpetuate psychopathy on this earth and take advantage of people through a system of sick care, not health care. It's a manipulated death cult, and these doctors need to wake the fuck up and see what they're doing, quit their fucking job, and do something noble. Because if you're doing this to children, and you know what you're doing, what can I say? I can forgive you enough, but you have to make a change. And the change requires you to forgive yourself and to move on. But if you're just continuing to do it solely for money, that's called the worship of mammon. That is the cult of mammon. That's what people like to associate with being the root of all evil, or the worst evil, the love of money, which it isn't. It's the worship of mammon. And honestly, rich isn't the problem. Money isn't the problem. Poverty, mindset is the problem. See, let's break this down a little bit more and then I'll move on. A doctor who knows what they're doing, the way we've been talking about it, but says that they're not willing to make a change, they're not willing to change their career or do something different, solely because of the money, that is actually poverty mindset. This is a poor person. This is somebody who doesn't believe in themselves. This is somebody who exists in a realm of lack. They have zero abundance, and everything therefore, everything that happens to them moving forward will be operating in a state of lack. So when I hear about doctors eventually developing the same exact sickness that they're working on, it doesn't surprise me. This is just metaphysics. This is just the way it all works, guys. Unconsciously, they have no idea that they're actually perpetuating the decay and death of themselves with the same exact thing that they're allegedly trying to treat, which is all based on germ theory, which is complete nonsense. It's like a syringe cult. So, I'm not against doctors. Do what you want to do. It's an individual's journey. But if you know what you're doing, if you're aware, and you decide to continue doing it, well, you can make up your imagination. But let's leave the children out of this. If you're a fucking adult and you're stupid enough to go get a fucking vaccine, well, good on you. Enjoy. Have a nice Thursday. But if you do it to a child against their will, I mean, you're like one step away from committing a murder, essentially. I know, not popular, but I really don't fucking care. I don't want to associate myself with people like that anyways. So welcome to Friday Spice Stream, everyone. I appreciate every single one of you. Daisy F, appreciate you showing up. Ooh. Eddie, you said, how can you believe nothing but yourself when you yourself can have every experience possible? Eddie, close your eyes right now and you could do anything you imagine. The next dream you have, you will be doing anything you imagine. That thought can be converted into an action you take. Therefore, you're just one thought away from experience. And any experience that has happened external for someone else is not something that you lived. It is something that you listened to. Isn't there that one movie with, there's that one movie, I think it's called Good Will Hunting. Is it that? I might be wrong, guys. But anyways, there's a moment in that where he's talking with the doctor. I think it's Robin Williams or something, but he's talking with the doctor about knowing, you know, the dimensions of like a building or something of that nature, right? And the doctor responded, or the person responded. It's funny that we were talking about doctors so much, and then here we are coming back. But anyways, the bigger point here was there was wisdom shared in that moment. And in that moment, the wisdom was, you might know like all the dimensions of the Sistine Chapel, but you've never walked in there and smelled it. You don't know like the energy that's there. Like all you're aware of is what you read about in books. So the man in the library full of books is one of the most useless human beings that could ever exist. The man who puts on the backpack and goes trekking through the forest is the man of experience. The man who gets lost in their travels, the one who decides to pick up a new skill, even if they have no idea of who they'll learn from to be able to develop the skill. Just the doer. The doer is the being that I resonate with. You don't need to get caught up in other people's experiences because that's their experience. What you must do is live. There's nothing here that should be done vicariously except for it evoking inspiration. So other people's experiences should bring out inspiration in you, and that will determine what action that you want to take based on it. One of the big reasons that I did that 4-week hitchhiking camping trip in Iceland alone was because I was inspired by somebody else who did it before me. And I listened to their story of how it all went for them. I believe I shared it probably like a year ago with you all. But anyways, I got very inspired by that being's story, shared this incredible story. And I was just like, wow, that really resonates with me. I want to go do that. And then I did it. And it was incredible. So there was inspiration there, and that inspiration can fuel action. But that's about all I could say on it. It still comes down to you anyways, because experiences that you have not, it isn't even experience if you haven't gone through it. And that's really the problem with humanity, actually. I'll explain a very typical issue with the state of consciousness that the masses are in. They are electing other people's experiences as their own and feeling their pain. I'll say that again. The collective will elect other people's emotion, reaction, state of being, and pain, and literally adopt it into their own reality. This is why the C word worked so well, because a bunch of people got scared shitless about germ theory and a prediction model that was very off, and it did its toll on people's soul. People believed it so much, they let that fear dictate their being. They let that fear dictate their state of being. This is the problem of having any concern in someone else's experience. Again, this comes back to resonation. There's inspiration as possible through someone sharing the story of their experience. But leave it at that. It used to happen to me all the time. I say, okay, I'm going to Napoli, Italy, and somebody would be like, oh, I heard the mafia's there. You're going to get mugged. You're going to get, somebody's going to harm you, this, that, and the third. And every time the more dramatic people were about where I wanted to go, it was an indicator, a counter indicator for me to probably have an even better time. Because I know humans better than they know themselves. They are fearful creatures. And I allow that. But I will never let them inspire me. Or demotivate me is probably the better word. From the action that I desire to take. Then I go to Napoli. I get out of the train at like 10 p.m. and these two girls on a scooter drive by. And they're like, you look lost. And I'm like, yeah, I'm really lost. And then I hopped on the back. It wasn't even it was like a, what are these, like a moped? It shouldn't have even had 3 people on it. Luckily enough, I'm skinny enough, I guess. It worked out. But then I hopped on this thing. I told them where I'm going. I don't even know where the fuck I'm going. And then I'm just like swarming around all these cars. I don't know if anyone knows about Napoli, but it's like chaos. And then they dropped me off in front of the hostel that I needed to go to. They both kissed me on the cheek and then just was like, ciao. And then I was just like, what just happened? I had like the most generosity within the first 30 minutes of being in a city that people attempted to spellcast me into being a bad experience. And it was people that didn't even go there themselves. I mean, damn. Talk about fear. People have so much fear in them, and they create opinions with that fear. It's like the least important person to listen to. So again, believe in yourself. Believe in what resonates with you. If an opportunity, a person, an experience, a location, anything resonates with you and inspires you to take action, your higher self is setting you up for a beautiful experience. And sure, there will be obstacles along the way. There's trials and tribulations in all things, but those are your greatest teachers. That's what develops that thicker skin. It's what forms the calluses. It's what makes you feel alive. That struggle and that disharmony that shows up when you decide to take action, those things that you call failure or mistakes, I'm here telling you right now that every mistake, every failure is your greatest choice. It is not a failure. It is how you respond to it that makes the difference. Most people are solely reacting, and that's what prevents them from doing. Oh yeah, I got this question because I was talking about something in my last video, and I've probably touched on it before, where I was making a joke about the new age talking about shifting into the 5D. And I was throwing jabs at it because, here's the thing, guys. You learned about the dimensions through the same people that taught you about the planets, through the same people that taught you about germ theory. So when you hear this talk about all these dimensions and what they're dedicated to and, what that visual will be or what perspective it shares that's unique, I'm just here to let you know that it was taught to you by the same parasitic system. So when we get this group of beings that I call the New Age that starts talking about these ideas of shifting into 5D, they are operating under savior complex and the waiting game. And I've seen so many beings that have fell for this cult that have perpetuated this message and have literally, people have started to believe it so much where they've given up on life just to wait out the moment when they're going to become light or whatever they think. And what I'm trying to tell people is that Gaia, the earth, this place is physical. This is for your physical experience. You're not coming here to shift to 5D, bruh. That thing that they're talking about, that concept is already in you. It is the animation behind your physical. That's your spirit. That's you. You're already the fucking 5D thing that the New Age is trying to brainwash you with. There is no wait. It's a realization. It's called enlightenment. But I'm here to say, when you know what the planets really are, and about the firmament dome and the waters above, and when you're aware of this realm, Saturn, Pluto, Neptune, the moon, all of what you see in the sky is an optical illusion. When you zoom in with a camera far enough, Mars will just look like a dancing light. It is a luminary. These are luminaries. Outside of the firmament, nothing is physical. We are the physical. This is your physical chance. This is your physical opportunity. Fucking enjoy it. This waiting game shit has to stop. Become divine. You already are. You just have to realize it. This physical experience is beautiful. My brother Constantine asking a beautiful question about committing to your purpose and the beings around you starting to judge you and saying that you've changed. That's very normal. And I talk about this in the Expansion Mastermind. Anyone who has the Expansion Mastermind and you've gone through chapter 1, which is just called, or I think I titled it maybe chapter 0. Anyways, it's the introduction. It's called Welcome to Another Day in the Matrix. And it's breaking down this concept that you're asking about, where it's like, how do you deal with the collective now once you've made this choice to step into this way of being, to enter this field that you operate on now? And the thing you must do is become the alchemist. And this is why I actually set up the course in the way that I did, because I wanted it to flow. It's actually a coaching course. I'm coaching you through this expansion where it's starting out with the breakdown of some of these concepts, and then it's moving you into a chapter called Alchemy of Self. And in Alchemy of Self, I talk about lead into gold, and how this is all, again, metaphysical, and this goes way deeper. And I talk about the breakdown between lead to gold from the etymology, from like actually breaking down the words, looking at it from a deeper lens. And you either lead to gold or you are led to gold. And I break that down in that chapter. And I really, really think that you would get a lot of value out of that, because it breaks it down in a way that's some of my best work. Like, I think Alchemy of Self and Heal Thyself, those 2 chapters are the greatest thing that I've done so far with WatersAbove. Those were some profound, lessons that I took so much time out of my life to really just get them down on paper. Endless voice memos saving on my phone, just ideas and just creative energy flowing through me, but such a unique piece of work. Everything else in that course is really profound and really my best work, but like those 2 specific chapters. And those are the 2 that I keep getting so many people reaching out to me about, that they keep just sharing these amazing reviews. So that's really something to review. But the short and sweet to answer your question, and I really appreciate your super chat and I appreciate all your support. I talked about the term, the concept of being the chameleon, and some people asked, well, is it bad? Like, does that chameleon sounds like you're changing and you're not being yourself? And it's actually not true at all. You need to know your environment, and I talk about environment in a way that we talk about the game of life. People call this the game of life, and I don't. I don't think this life is a game. I think existing is a game, but life is not a game. And I will never let somebody spellcast me into this being a game. This is my rules, my fine print, my privacy policy. This experience is on me. And I understand when I'm going to have to shift, to cooperate, to have 1 foot in the matrix and 1 foot out. I know exactly when. I know how. I know how to protect my prana in the process. I know how to prepare myself for it. I know, because I've decided to be the alchemist of this experience. How to transmutate all of this energy to serve me, as opposed to me being a servant to it. When you step into that field of energy, it's going to be taxing on people. And I'll tell you why, Constantine. Because it's no longer taxing on you. You used to have to behave and try to be agreeable for others. Now, when you become higher self, when you get locked in your purpose, it's going to start burning more calories for the collective to operate at your frequency. It's going to be exhausting for them. Make it exhausting for them. Make them sweat. Make everyone sweat. Make it difficult. I want you to become Mount Everest. It's not fucking easy to climb your mountain. But the ones who are willing to take that journey, they're rewarded. I've decided to become the tallest mountain. So yes, you're going to burn more calories when you're climbing up this. This is going to take some time. It's going to take some practice, some preparation. It's going to be spicy. But the reward you get at the top, the flag that's planted, I'll let you plant it. That's the beauty of this shared experience. I want you to grow. That's why I said before, do not believe in me. If I wanted you to contract instead of expand, I would say, yep, you should believe in me. Believe in everything I say. I have the truth. Wouldn't that be how I would behave? I want you to climb up this mountain. I want you to feel the success and the growth and the opportunity and the beauty of this life as much as I want that for myself. Because when I'm doing well, you're doing well. But you have to accept that you want to do well as well. So when you lock into your purpose and you decide to become the mountain, it's going to become increasingly difficult for people to operate on your frequency. It's going to take effort from them. Do not make it easy on them. And whenever it starts to become taxing on you, whenever you start to see yourself struggling a little bit, that's the moment. Instead of letting your snow melt, don't let your snow melt. You need to be ice cold, okay? This is a concept that we talk about with protecting your prana. You need to have a strong ego. So whenever you get into those moments, that is when we talked about being the chameleon. The chameleon doesn't move. It just changes its colors. Make them feel like your snow is melting, but internally, you know the truth. You don't need to make them agree with you. This experience of life is not about having people agree with you. That's too easy. We should have our differences. We should have different perspectives. That's what makes this beautiful. That's what makes this so incredible, to have different people in our lives. But that truth that I just channeled in, wow, that's important. You need to become Mount Everest. Give them fucking frostburn. Make them sweat. Make them struggle. Because you, when you're in your purpose, you're so perfect. You're so divine. That's anyone who's listening to this right now. When you are locked in your purpose in this now moment and you're creative, you're operating in a field of energy that is so divine. And if other people feel like you've changed and you're not being the same and this, that, and the third, make them sweat. These clear pills aren't for everyone, guys. Yo, this is the best comment I've got on all night. Ron Star, I hope you're still here. Yo, everyone give Ron Star some love. This is the best comment. Ron Star said, Waters, once you grow up, you will learn that people do things for different reasons. It's part of life. Oh man, I'm 400 years old. Like, what are you trying to do to me? Yo, I love when I read stuff like that. You heard that, guys? Maybe someday I'll grow up and I'll be just like Ron Star. One day I'll grow up and I'll hate myself too. All right, let's move on. Appreciate every single one of you. Got 530 people up in here. It's all love. Cody, appreciate you hanging out with us tonight. Layla, you're asking about chronic pain. Yes. Chronic pain starts with being in a chronic state of dehydration. So, first, you must effectively hydrate your vessel. When you effectively hydrate your vessel, you will start to actually lubricate your joints. So, the pain you're feeling in skeletal muscular tissue, the pain you're feeling in your joints, ligaments, sure, it could have been caused by you aging. It could be caused by you not moving your body enough, meaning you're not stretching enough, you're not exercising, you're mostly sedentary. So, Layla, I don't know anything about you, but I'm just speaking on the way that this works. So, when you effectively hydrate your vessel, you create an environment that self-repairs. Now, when you're dehydrated, your body is so perfect that it will actually steal fluid from you. It'll start to take it from muscle tissue. It'll start to take it from, any bit that's in the form of glycogen, whether that be in liver or glycogen of the muscle. So it's important that you understand that a lot of this water that you have, it's probably holding on you, but it's not actually hydrating you. So this is why when people create caloric deficits, they tend to drop weight very quickly at first because they're shedding a lot of water weight. One of the most natural ways to enter, to lose some weight is to just enter a caloric deficit, because typically by cutting down those calories, you reduce the amount of carbohydrate. And when you reduce the amount of carbohydrate, you're reducing the amount of liquid that actually holds within those carbohydrates. So this is the beauty of switching your carb sources from whatever they typically are to fruit, because fruit is going to effectively hydrate your body. The water that it will store will actually be hydrating the cells, and it will help to actually push out inorganic minerals that are stored within your body that are keeping you dehydrated. Essentially, all of us have a little bit of soil, dust, sand inside of our bodies because that is within all water. When you're drinking water, unless it's distilled, it always has dirt in it. Very few people are aware of this because very few people are aware of inorganic versus organic minerals. So the fruit is helping actually push out the dirt while hydrating the cells. And another thing it's doing is it's actually going to mostly come out of the excess water and waste. So it's not going to store water the same way something like bread or rice or sweet potato would. Much, much different. Fructose is like a technology. It's amazing. So, anywho, in order to get rid of chronic pain, you have to become hydrated again. You have to become effectively hydrated. Until you effectively hydrate yourself, there's no amount of yoga or exercise or stretching or Pilates or any cream or ointment or whatever you want to put on yourself. Like, none of that shit's going to work long term because you're just making small little small changes to the acute, but ultimately you're suffering from being dehydrated. Anyone who is optimally hydrated, the body will start creating its own waters effectively. It will lubricate the joints. It'll take care of the rest. Your skin will start to heal. Your muscle will repair quicker, especially if you work out. Your whole body is mostly water. So when you deplete it from its waters, it will steal from the waters you have. And if the only water that you're putting in your body is pure water that is not distilled, you're going to be putting lots of sand and inorganic matter. And then when you combine that with food mass, anything that isn't fruit, it's going to take a long time to digest. And some of it might be stored in the intestines for very prolonged periods of time, especially if you're mixing that with animal flesh. So it's very multifaceted, but the pain starts with the way you consume. You are what you eat. But I don't have any context about what you consume. So, I mean, that's really just the best answer I could give with what I'm working with. But I appreciate you, sending you love and sending you healing energy as well. Hope you're in your process of healing your vessel. And I hope that this response can play a role in your journey towards healing. Gus, appreciate you showing up. Much love. Top G, Appreciate you, brother. All right, my family, we have a little bit more that we can hang out, but then we gotta move it on. Okay, I got a question about crystals and minerals and specifically organite. And I'll just say this. You have the power to transmute without any physical stuff. So I think people need to watch out for this belief in crystals having these specific powers, okay? Again, this is the mind programming. People think that things are in isolation. Nothing in this realm is necessarily isolated. It's our limited bandwidth of perceived frequency. Our bandwidth of perception is so limited that of course everything looks like it could be individual, but it's part of source. It's all being powered by one source. So when one specific crystal looks different than the other, it still came from Gaia. When we start to give these rocks power and meaning, we're fucking ourselves up. I've said this in the past and I got a lot of flack for it. So again, a very unpopular thing to share, because I know a lot of people that have crystal businesses where their whole business is based around this. And I know they don't like hearing this stuff, but hey, it just is what it is, guys. Like, your mind program is what has isolated all these things and made them have these belief systems. You believe that quartz has this one specific type of property. You believe, and it's the same thing with astrology. With astrology, people do the same thing, and we talked about this probably in the last live stream. The mind loves to categorize, isolate, and give meaning and purpose to things. All I'm saying is watch out how you create your magic wand, because that's really all you're doing. Now, if you resonate with certain stones, you resonate with certain, crystals, it's just like resonating with another person. Or when you probably resonate with your dog more than you resonate with your neighbor down 4 streets from here's dog. But you don't hate that dog. I mean, that dog might bark when you're walking by. You might find it annoying, but like, you don't hate the dog. It just doesn't resonate with you. Your dog resonates with you. That's really what you're doing, guys. Like, when you are attracted to one specific crystal it's just your relationship with it. But protect yourself from isolating things so much with your mind program. They do this with all these other things like tarot and, playing cards. And I love the relationship concept because it provides unity, not division. It provides a grandiose meaning behind it. It's more of a tool rather than a weapon. But I hear people all the time that are like, this one stone, I got it and it like ruined my life because of this. And I'm like, no, you ruined your life. Take fucking personal responsibility. The stone didn't do shit to you. You humans took these fucking stones from Gaia and started selling them to each other and giving them meaning. You did what humans did with the Bible, but you did it to Mother Earth. And you don't have the aperture of your pineal gland to accept this. And you take personal offense when somebody speaks on it. But you stole from the earth, you repackaged it and turned it into a product. And now it's this like... It's this business model. I get it. I know why we do it. I know why people get offended by this as well. And trust me, like, I found a pine cone the other day and I really I resonated a lot with it. I know this might sound super random, but I'm just being transparent with you guys. And it unlocked like a field of energy for me. And I really resonated with it at that time. I didn't have somebody fucking telling me meaning and stuff. I didn't have a guy behind a counter being like, this one right here is really special because on the full moon, it tends to do this one thing. And I'm like, dude, you made that up. But when you're out there in nature and you're going through life and you're having these experiences on your own and interacting with it directly, it becomes its relationship to you. And that's the beauty of interacting with the physical realm. Find flowers, trees, stones, all of these things, and I want you to experience them. But stop using the mind programming to get so fancy, because that's the thing that's becoming your enemy. It's what creates limiting beliefs. And if you want to expand and really have abundance, you need to protect yourself from creating these limiting beliefs with your mind program. It's distorting your subconscious. Zen Man, I appreciate the super chat. You said, what's with these number combinations? I started to see 333, 777, like everywhere, and now my wife sees them also. It's so crazy. Well, it's because your mind attaches on. Like if I told you blue car, if I just said blue car, and now I want you to say blue car in your head. I want you to say blue car to yourself like a mantra 50 times. Then your next time going outside, you're going to start to see all these blue cars. It's just what we do with our mind. So the number 444 for me, oh shit, it's literally 404 where I am. Okay. See? That's fucked up. Like the number 44 and 444 have been following me so much lately. Like I've had this relationship with it recently. And all it is the way that we're connecting with it. So what I would say is ride that wave of that energy. Ride the wave of that energy as kind of like telling you something good is coming. Like I always take it as positive. Those are all just signs, like whenever you're seeing these number sequences, they're all just signs. Bronco says, I absolutely adore you, family values. I appreciate you too, Bronco. Appreciate you. Sending love. Decode, I appreciate you. Sending you lots of love. I hope you're having a beautiful day. Randall, welcome to the Wolf Pack. Randall McMurphy, sending you love. I appreciate you. Kate Bishop, I appreciate you. Sending love. Love Stonk said, this live is a spicy waterboarding session. I used to say that all the time. You guys ready to get waterboarded? That's funny though. Diego Yamas, sending you love. Appreciate you. Diego's an OG wolf. Esther, yeah, we talk about the ego in a very different way here. Dustin, yeah, Dustin always says some of the funniest shit. Damn, it's too funny. Yum yum yum. Jai Chef, appreciate you. Marissa, appreciate you. Crypto KO, sending you love. Ooh, that's a nice compliment. I've never heard anyone say that before. You said, "Love the sound of your voice. It's like a soul massage." Damn, damn. That's that's a really nice compliment. I'm just trying to. Maya, I appreciate you getting the expansion mastermind, and I hope it's treating you well on your journey. Dustin has listened to these live streams for so long that he's developed inside jokes within his comments that I maybe only I would understand. Yo, I love this guy. I knew from day one that Dustin was a true wolf. Melanie Blythe, shout out to Dream Haze Effect. Appreciate you. Appreciate you being an OG follower of my work. Much love from the Wolf Pack. Congratulations being freed from that job and wishing you abundance in all ways of life. Christine asks about the pole shift. There's definitely something going on. Yeah, I mean, if there's anything that like one concept that I could say that has some validity to it is the idea of liquefaction of Gaia. So Christine, I can't break down the specifics of the pole shift because it's a very, you have crust displacement theory, then you have pole shift, then you have all the other apocalyptic, prophecies that some people have shared, and even scientific kind of stuff, and I'll just share my personal truth on the matter, and that's what I always like to do anyways. So I see there being a slow liquefaction of the Earth surface. That's just the way that I'm seeing this whole transition go. So we're going to see places become muddier. We're going to see lots of volcanic events, a lot of plasma discharge. So this can be volcanic eruption is a pretty common version of that. Geothermal activity increasing. So anywhere that has lots of geothermal activity, such as Yellowstone, Iceland, Hawaii, etc., even parts of Southeast Asia, I believe. So we're gonna see, to get to the long and short of it, like the geothermal activity will increase. Liquefaction of the crust is happening. You're going to see coastal towns start to be basically swallowed up into the sea slowly. And this has already started happening. Like anyone who lives on the Great Lakes around Michigan, Wisconsin, that kind of area, there's already been like huge pieces of land just getting swallowed into the lakes. We've been seeing record-breaking flooding year after year after year in places that we've never seen it. So the groundwater is rising. We're also seeing landslides, and this has been pretty dramatic in a lot of the world lately. So I think the pole shift concept, I can't like necessarily hop on board with it necessarily, but I do think that we're in a process of seeing the land go through a reset, and it's probably going to be a mud flood. So we're going to probably have, 50 meters or so of what we are looking at now that we're calling the ground will not be the same way for forever. There's going to be an event. And I am so stoked. I am 0% worried about whatever happens. It's something I don't really talk about too often because I don't even find it necessary. But yep, that's probably the next thing that's going to be more noticeable. And it's a big reason for the push towards the food agenda they have and metaverse and a lot of the other psyops. So that might be something worth talking about in another stream, but I covered most of the key points here. Appreciate you. Sending lots of love. Oh, and by the way, I am not saying that the pulse shift theory or idea is wrong or incorrect and that I do not resonate with it at all. I'm just saying that I rather share my perspective, and that's my perspective. Gabriella, she asks, is it bad to be drinking only distilled water? Absolutely not. Distilled water is removing soil from your body. It is. See, here's the thing, guys. The human organism is designed for distilled waters. Every natural hormonal reaction of the body, every chemical reaction in the body operates on distilled water. Your blood is distilled water. Amniotic fluid is distilled water. The rain hydrologic cycle is distilled water. The organic system is distilled water. Here's a deep spell that I'll share with you guys. I've never said this before, but get the pineal gland ready. You know how you like go up into a maple tree and you tap a maple tree, and you're tapping the tree to get its syrup, right? So y'all are drinking tap water. And they're tapping your syrup. Like they're straight up tapping your soul with this shit water that everyone is just guzzling down and selling people on all this. You got to drink 2 liters a day. You got to drink a gallon a day. You got to do it. Bro, you're pissing your electrolytes down the toilet. Every time you drink any water besides distilled water, you are peeing away your electrolytes. You're creating disharmony between mineral balance within your vessel. That's how this works. The body, you were created in distilled water inside of your mother's womb. It is the only liquid that you should be consuming. So rainwater would be the original way of getting this, or fruit. Now, I would not recommend rainwater because that shit has fucking barium, strontium, aluminum, flakes of plastic that come out of the back of airliners on a daily basis all day from your military. So rainwater is putrid, and it does fuck up the food system, unfortunately, but you can't do anything about it. So that's why my methodology and what I teach is to practice dry fasting combined with effective hydration from fruit and combined with consuming distilled waters. And if you want to go the extra mile and add a little bit of like magnesium or something, colloidal or liquid magnesium to your water, go for it. Have fun. But at the end of the day, you don't want to be getting hydrated from water. Humans never hydrated themselves on water. If you want to know the real truth about hydration, humans drank their own urine. That's the original waters. And humans never lived in an area that did not have fruit until we became this parasited species that we're dealing with today, that wants to burn excessive calories to go hunt down animals, which is ridiculous. It's such an exhausting procedure for something that you need to butcher, remove some of the organ meat that is poisonous. I mean, it's a complete waste of time. And it's led to us relinquishing higher levels of consciousness. So if there's anything that has been damaging to the human body outside of being in a dehydrated state, it's operating in a way that burns excessive energy to go after shit that isn't even designed for our digestive system. But that's another matter. The bigger point here, to answer the question, is consuming for 4 years of distilled waters, your kidneys are probably in their healthiest state that they've ever been in your whole life. Oh, by the way, breast milk is also distilled. So having your child consume its mother's milk is what was designed for that child. The baby formula that you're giving it is full of, they're calling it fortified, meaning it has dirt in it. It literally has rocks that have been crushed up. That's all fortified foods, including baby formula. When they call it fortified and it has all of these vitamin B, vitamin A, vitamin B12, all of this shit, it is crushed up rocks. You're giving your baby crushed up rocks. So I know some mothers out there, they have a hard time. I don't personally know the experience, but I've lived long enough now to have seen many people go through some really bad experiences with breastfeeding. The baby not being able to latch on. I mean, it's so circumstantial. So I'm not out here trying to trigger any mothers. Like, I love all you, like, respect. But this baby formula shit, you're basically giving your baby poison. You're giving it crushed up rocks into a perfect, brand new, pure set of kidneys. You're destroying the kidneys at day one. So that's not the way to go. Anyways, another truth bomb, but important to talk about. People are asking about water filters. They're all going to keep dirt. Like, you could try your best, but like, water filters are all going to, I'll give you an experiment. Take the Berkey filter, take a reverse osmosis, take whatever you want. Okay. Double, triple run it through that filtration system. I want you to try this. Okay. Then I want you to take that filtered water at the end and I want you to throw that through a water distiller. I want you to throw it through 2 to 3 cycles of that water distiller. So do about 3 gallons. I bet you on that second cycle, you're going to see a layer of sand and soil and brown shit at the bottom of that distiller. So I really do not, like, I'm not here to sell people on water filtration systems. Like, the water still has dirt in it. Okay. And beyond that, it has, I mean, anyways, I don't want to go too off onto this tangent because I could do it literally forever. Jai Chef, I appreciate you. Layla, it's all love. Appreciate you. Ruben, Jermaine, that's facts. What you said was facts. And I'm sure Decode can resonate with this because it's a fellow decoder. When it comes to the rocks and the minerals and all the stones in that, you can find infinite meaning for the same thing. Like, you can type in, let's just have fun real quick. I'm just typing in Venus, okay? Just for fun. I'm turning on Chaldean, like, whatever. So, we have this number 81. We also have the mirror of that 81 coming up as 18. We know 18 in Judaism is a very important number. So, anyone who's aware of Judaism, you'll know that they give gifts and money in the value of 18. Why do they do it? Let's break that down. So the 1 is the 1. 0 is the cosmic egg that gives birth to the 1. The 1 is you. That's why Neo in the Matrix is Neo. It's an anagram for 1. Now 1 is a lonely fella. 1 needs a partner, so 1 gets 2. Now 1 has a whole new meaning because 1 in and of itself requires a partner. Now that 1 and 2 are together, they're going to have moments where they get into arguments, fights, misunderstandings. That's why they require a translator or a mediator between them. That's where you get 3, or the Trinity, the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost, the Maiden, the Mother, the Crone. The 3 stages to bring balance. Then you have the number 4. We could just keep going, but I do this quite often, so I don't want to reiterate every single concept. Now, we can do that same thing with stones, and we do that. So that's my greater point. We have our meaning, and then we provide meaning to whatever it is. And if I talk about the number 1, you can say, well, that number signifies the universe, or, well, also the number 9 is the universal number. It's the number that means everything. If 0 means nothing, then 9 is all. So is it that 1 is the universe or 9 is the universe? What is it? You see? And this is where belief steps in, because when belief steps in, it starts creating these hard, factual, sturdy meanings behind things. Now, I have my meaning for the number 2, and I would love to know your meaning for the number 2. I'm not here to say that what I shared with you about number 1 is the entirety of all of my knowledge. And we're still talking about the number 18, by the way. So 8 is the organic movement of the sun, of Helios. It's the analemma. 8, the figure 8. That's the pattern. When you lay it on its side, you have the infinity symbol, forever. You could keep breaking this down. It's the Taurus field, whatever. But now when 1 and 8 are together, the way that I've broken this down a little bit deeper is 1 being you, literally you, and 8 being infinity. 1 also means source. So it's your infinite connection to source. Oh, 1 second. I got a super chat. Dweez, I appreciate your super chat. Much love, brother. The next time I'm meeting with Coach JV will be on the 27th of September, so in 11 more days. I really appreciate you, and thank you for supporting my work, and I'm excited to reconnect with Coach JV. So anyways, the bigger point of what I'm making here is I just took a word, and I could start breaking down every single connection if I wanted to. Like, I got to have fun with this all day. Like, 81 is the square root of 9. 9 is the number that symbolizes everything. So there we go. 81 has a relationship to the number 9 in that way. It's 9 nines. And when I say 9 nines, now it has a connection to 99. And you could just keep breaking it down. And that's where Jupiter comes into play, 99. We also see the 45 and the 27, which also connects back to Venus. That 54, that 27, 45, 54 just mirror of each other. And we're just playing around with the 4 base ciphers in Chaldean right now. 25 is the quarter. We even use this word quarter when we're talking about the moon. Quarter moon. Anyways, Venus is Iospherus. It's Lucifer. It is the morning star, the light bearer, the bringer of light. She's the divine feminine, also Aphrodite or Apru. So this has everything to do with love. And love is the ultimate form of enlightenment. That is the light bearer, because light is love. Light is light. Light is life. She is life. And life is love. It's very basic. This is not a planet. It is a luminary, and it is a teacher of higher self. When we type in Lucifer, we could see a connection that I've talked about before in the past. We have that 74, and guess what that matches? Oh, his enemy. Or him. Because that's the secret meaning behind this anyways. They're the same person. They created that duality for you to make you believe they're different. But they're actually just part of the same coin. And it's all about perspective. This all comes back to the hive mind, which is the 31 Chaldean, which is the 11th prime number. That number 11 is the twin towers, Yakin and Boaz, the two sides of you, your left and right side, your left and right brain. You are the twins. That's what your body is. It's the anode and the cathode. It's the two poles. And your soul is the electrolyte. You literally are the number 11 as much as you are the number 1. And this is where the master numbers come into play. And it's a process. And when you make it to number 33, that's the finality. That is when you become this guy and this guy at the same time. It's when you become Father, Son, Holy Spirit, and Maiden Mother Crone at the same time. Okay? The divine masculine and the divine feminine joins as one. You honor both. You become enlightened. That's why that always comes back to that. And you do this process through realizations, not through teachings. You do it through realizations. And this is why they have the world stuck in the way they have it, where it's duality consciousness. It's about the man is the power guy and the woman is the teacher, and there's the breadwinner, and then there's the subordinate, and you have feminism and all this. It's all Zionism. Nobody wants to accept it as such. Weak men are weak because they don't want to honor the divine feminine, and weak women are weak because they don't want to honor the divine masculine. And they keep playing this bullshit of trying to believe that their side of the team is more important than the other, when it's actually the opposite. We need the opposing sex to create. You don't even need to worry about honoring your own. You should actually be unlocking the honor for the opposing so that you together could be a battery. You could become the life, the light of life. And that's how you make children. It's very basic stuff. And it's like, don't you see the traps here, guys? They're always trying to catch you in this hive mind. It's amazing. Queen Bee gives you the 74, just like Jesus and just like Lucifer. Who would have thought? Got 500 people hanging out with us pretty late into this. Appreciate y'all. Marissa asking about hair loss. Hair loss is because of dehydration, and hair loss is also because of your kidneys being damaged. So you need to repair your kidneys, because what's going on is it's producing, it's not able to produce the minerals anymore. Your body is leaking out minerals at all times, and it's because of improper hydration levels, and it's also probably because of your lymphatic system being damaged. So that's a huge thing. Once you're unable to effectively hydrate yourself and your body starts taking liquid from you, where do you think that comes? It's in the development of your skin cells, your nails, your hair, and the way your eyes look. So you could almost tell somebody's dehydrated by the way their hair looks, by the way their skin looks, that's pretty much it. When you become sufficiently hydrated, those things will repair naturally. Another thing I would say is stop putting chemicals on your crown chakra. So you have to stop using shampoos and conditioners. All that shit's fucking up your head. Give yourself 1 full year of putting 0 product on your scalp. Let your natural oil from your scalp recover and begin to produce its own oils. then you're going to start to see dramatic changes. At first, it might not look pretty, especially if you're somebody who, females are using dry shampoo and all these products that's fucking up your hair. Straighteners, stop using that hair straightener. Like, I know you women out there, you want to look beautiful and all that, but like that hair straightener, you're frying your fucking hair. So stop using heat directly on your head. Stop consuming foods that are dehydrating you. Start consuming more fruit. Stop consuming supplements. Supplements are damaging your kidneys. You need to repair your lymphatic system if you want your hair to be healthy again. But definitely, I would definitely say stop putting anything on your head. And stop cutting your hair also. I mean, if you're going through hair loss, you're probably not cutting your hair, but you know how many people, like, they just develop tons of hair issues from consistently cutting their hair? I haven't cut my hair in like 9 years now. The healthiest it's ever been. Stop cutting your antennas. Any form of exercise is amazing while you're dry fasting, whether you're sweating or not. Sweat needs to get out of you anyways. That's going to keep your lymphatic system healthier. That's going to make your skin healthier as well. New Vision, Tarot 82, appreciate you. Send you lots of love. I actually would recommend using distilled water with coffee, but it does not make the best tasting coffee. Because with coffee, you actually want some solids inside of it. So I know you're probably making a joke, Decode, but you know me. Like, once I have some truth to share, I'm gonna share it. But yeah. So I would say that coffee does require some minerals within it. There's a company called Third Wave Water that actually does this, but you are literally adding rocks back into your water. So for me, I rather go with health than quality of coffee flavor. So I rather go with the distilled water for a cup of coffee, because the coffee, you're not going to deal with any inorganic minerals except for any fines that make it through the filter. And if you're drinking like AeroPress or V60 or something of that nature, it's going to filter out most of the solids. So you're going to be left with a really low TDS. Spring water is full of soil. But you could take that spring water. Spring water has one thing that mechanically distilled water does not have. Distilled water that comes from a distiller has no prana in it. It has all of its energy removed. So with spring water, you have a lot of prana. So it just depends on what you're going for. But yeah, that's going to have dirt. But you could revitalize your water by pouring it from one glass to the other. Nicholas Canada. How do I say this nicely? I have bug repellent on me, and I sprayed it before the live stream. So your mosquito tendencies are not going to work. You're not going to get any blood from anyone today, but I appreciate you trying. Ruben Germain, completely false. The more sugar, the better. Fructose is what human beings are designed to consume. Anyone who says that sugary fruit is bad for you, they're probably caught up in most likely literature that comes from the scientific community. And they're talking about insulin, and they're talking about the way that the pancreas works, and they're talking about blood sugar. All of it's nonsense. And also, people need to understand that white sugar, sucrose, literally the most processed form of sugarcane, was created by the Chinese as an anti-venom. It's actually an incredible medicine. It's not something you should be consuming, but it's something that could be used as a medicine, topically and internally, if you'd like, for that purpose. So fructose is what humans are designed for. It's the only thing that will actually cure all illness, no matter what it is, because it's rehydrating the vessel. Everything else has a temporary correction. It's not sustainable, and it will destroy the body over the long term. That's what we're designed to eat. Vegetables are fine, but they're not going to hydrate you. Vegetables are really, the only purpose they have is to provide some insoluble fibers and push out any excess that is stored within your intestines. But there is some minerality you could get from them. Ultimately, we're designed for fruit. Clementine, you're asking, are we getting a little extra? Yes. Yes. Next week, I'll let people know beforehand, but I will be doing some mushrooms for the next stream. It's gonna be fun. We will do that. But everyone, I do have to go. Oh my God, Nicholas Canada, this is like the biggest parasite we could possibly have. Okay, I just had to do it. Sorry. I can't today. All right. Everyone, Decode, I appreciate you. You're very generous. Thank you. I'm manifesting abundance for you, my brother. I wish you a beautiful weekend, and thank you so much for that generous super chat. All right, you guys are asking a lot of questions about the water, so you're really interested in that. But yeah, banned live bear. Our body is distilled water. Everything the body does is distilled. Adding activated charcoal to water doesn't really help at all, but it will make your water more pure if you're only able to get shitty tap water. And but it's not going to do anything to the water in the way that we're talking about it today. It's not giving any prana to the water. It's not removing inorganic minerals. It's not necessarily healthier for you. It's just a form of purification. All right, all right, all right. Eddie said, Jordan, clone yourself already. Oh man, should be lucky there's only one me. All right, I should head out. Iron Wolf, I appreciate you. It's all love. Do I play video games? No, I don't play video games. I move around too much to have a video game console. Yeah, Eddie, in response to what you said, I completely agree with you. If you don't have the money, and so Eddie, I'll let you know about something regarding activated charcoal. When I used to do a lot of like budget camping and traveling, I did have a specific bottle that was made by a French company. I forgot the name of it. I really wish I could recommend it, but I don't have the anyways, so it was amazing for traveling because if you go places and you only get like the campsite water thing, like dispenser, or even those water fountains, or tap water for that matter, like you leave it with that activated charcoal and it helps purify. But yeah, I mean, my answer and what I said was just to be more thorough. It is important that people are aware and have the knowledge of the organic vessel that we have and what is best to ingest and what makes us the most optimal. And water, pure water, is not hydrating you. It's pushing out your electrolytes. You must eat your minerals. You must consume your organic minerals. And they must come in a form that is packed in a way that actually has water within. And this is what's harming so many people, is they're fed to believe this idea that pure water is hydrating them. Everyone believes this. And it's creating so much damage. I'll tell you what it's doing actually. Consuming all this pure water like people do, it's destroying their kidneys. It's absolutely devastating on the kidneys. And that's why I love dry fasting, because a dry fast is one of the few opportunities that your kidneys actually have to get a break. They get a break from all the nonsense that we do to them. And that's why dry fasting is so ultimate on the body, and why it's so quick at healing, and it's so effective. And it's muscle sparing at the same time. So it's really brilliant in that way. Your body's so perfect. When you don't do anything, your body is perfect. But when you do these 6-day, 7-day, 9-day water fasts, this is fucking your kidneys, because your kidneys are going through, everything is kind of chilling, but your kidneys are working in isolation really, really, really hard with all this pure water. So when people really want to dedicate themselves to an extended water fast, they must understand that a water distiller should be considered mandatory for this person. If you're going to do 7 days and you're adding activated charcoal, whatever, reverse osmosis, Berkey filter, I don't care what you're doing, you're putting into your body nothing but fucking dirt. That's going to harm you. And at the same time, you're not giving your kidneys a break. So if there's any wisdom that I could share about fasting, is stay away from extended water fasts until you learn about fasting and the art of fasting. Because a lot of people go into water fasts and then leave the water fast more dehydrated than when they started. A water fast is not a hydrating experience if you don't know how to do it effectively. So I actually teach inside of my Expansion Mastermind course all of this stuff. It's insane how much information and little gems that I share about how to effectively hydrate, set yourself up for extended fasts, how to fast effectively, and everything from muscle sparing to removing excess body fat to detoxification, cleansing. It's all there. But I appreciate every single one of you. I hope that you're all having a beautiful, beautiful night, and wishing you all abundance and love. And give me 1 second. Just make sure I didn't miss any super chats. I think I'm all caught up. I think the last one was Decode. Yeah, Ruben says 6-day water fast is insane. Well, I've done two 6-day water fasts. I've never actually done a 7. And I know the experience. I mean, I've done probably 20 or 30 4-day or 5 days water fasts. But you're getting, I'm giving you the cheat code, because I have all these little things do make a difference. So I'm not against the water fasting. There's just there's a lot more ways to do it wrong than ways to do it right. And for me, I rather do a juice fast than do a water fast for 7 days, because the juice fast is actually going to effectively hydrate you. And we should be trying to become hydrated forever instead of trying to do one extreme 7-day water fast. And I even talk about that in the course, how too many people get food obsession and eating disorders from becoming from learning how to fast. And it's because they haven't broke through a lot of the underlining, trauma that their intestines are storing. Okay, I could talk about this all day. This is my favorite subject to talk about, so I should probably move on because I need to get going. I have a meeting in 15 minutes. I was really dedicated to spending as much time with you all today. I really appreciate every single one of you, and have a beautiful rest of your weekend. I'll catch some of you on Red Pill Podcast number 77. Can't believe it. one and a half weeks away from the end of the Shemitah, and here we are at episode 77. So it's going to be a blast. Appreciate everyone for supporting my work. Appreciate you all for